It's Tuesday, January 13th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Defense cross-examines a key witness in the double murder of an elderly couple. Why does New Brunswick lead the country in the number of avoidable deaths?
Cloudy with mild January temperatures Wednesday. There's a chance of flurries for parts of New Brunswick.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. We will have those stories in a moment, but we begin with a police chase this morning that ended in shots fired that left one man dead. Officers shot the man after his vehicle went off the road at the intersection of Nova Scotia Highways 236 and 202. It started at around 8:30 in the morning with the report of a man with a gun on Church Street in Sebaganagity. Our CMP say the man threatened people inside a home before he left the area in a sedan. Officers spotted the vehicle speeding on Indian Road. The car eventually went off the road. At that time, police say shots were fired. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. The RCMP are not commenting on what happened. The case has been handed to the Serious Incident Response Team for investigation. We will report details when we get them. A key witness was on the stand for the day in the Jansen Baker double murder trial underway in Moncton. CTV's Derek Haggett has more on what he told the court.
The defense cross-examined one of the Crown's key witnesses for most of the day here at the Moncton Law Courts. Yesterday, that witness testified that Jansen Baker admitted to him that he was responsible for the murders of an elderly Dieppe couple. The defense attorney questioned the witness, a former acquaintance of Baker's, about the timeline for when Baker started to tell him about the homicides. The witness replied a few weeks after they took place. In great detail, the defense went through the witness's lengthy criminal record and past involvement with drugs, which at times agitated the witness. At one point, the defense called the witness a professional criminal and repeatedly questioned his motive for testifying. The witness's identity cannot be revealed due to a publication ban. The 29-year-old Baker has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Bernard and Rosemarie Saunier. The couple was shot and killed in their Dieppe home in the early morning hours of September 7, 2019. Yesterday, the jury was shown photos of Baker taken the same morning of the murders. In the pictures, Baker is seen wearing a gold chain just a few hours after the murders took place. Court has heard testimony from the Crown's witness saying Baker told him he took a gold chain and a gold watch off Bernard Saunier's body. The witness has testified that Baker broke into the Sauniers' home wearing a clown mask with red hair and told them to get down and shot them. The trial continues tomorrow. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
Nova Scotia's budgetary watchdog revealed some startling numbers today about just how much the provincial government is spending. CTV late anchor Bruce Frisco has been looking into the Auditor General's report. There is a lot to digest here, Bruce.
Oh, for sure, Todd. This is, in fact, one of the largest, most comprehensive reports of the year for the Auditor General. And she notes there was $1.6 billion in spending in the 2024-25 fiscal year that wasn't authorized by a majority vote in the legislature. In fact, Kim Adair says since 2020 to 2021, the government has spent more than $6.7 billion the same way, all of it outside the budget process. She says the government is turning in surpluses but growing the debt at the same time. Consider last year. She says the surplus was a comfortable $265 million, but that and more was spent on a number of projects and programs, so the debt increased for the 5th year in a row. She says the extra money, or some of it, should probably go to paying down the province's growing debt, because that is weakening the overall financial situation in Nova Scotia.
Net debt is now at $20.8 billion, which is growing very, very quickly, and the borrowed debt, unmatured debt, is also just under $20 billion, and the interest cost on that debt is growing at a very fast pace. I think it's like $750 million a year, and that money is not available for spending on government programs and services.
Again, Adair says the province is running this operating surplus for 4 of the past 5 years and then just use the money for extra shopping. She notes healthcare spending is up $2.4 billion over the past 5 years, which of course was a key plank in the Houston election campaign, so probably not many complaints about that. On the other hand, she also notes the decision to remove the tolls on the Halifax Harbour bridges means the province has given up between $25 and $37 million and taken on responsibility for bridge repairs and maintenance, which of course, as we both know, Todd, can cost a great deal of money in the long run.
And seem to be happening quite often. Bruce Frisco joining us in the News Center. He has your late newscast at 11:30. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Every year, 2,000 New Brunswickers die in preventable ways, from collisions to suicide and overdoses, but mostly from diseases like lung cancer and heart disease. CTV's Laura Brown has the details.
It's a bleak statistic.
New Brunswick is still higher than Canada on potentially avoidable deaths overall.
A New Brunswicker's average lifespan is just over 80 years old. So an avoidable death is anyone who dies before 75 from a cause that could have been prevented, perhaps by exercise or diet or by earlier treatment of a disease. Each year, 2,000 New Brunswickers' deaths are considered avoidable. Half of them are from 6 conditions: lung cancer, heart diseases, COPD, colorectal cancer, diabetes, and stroke. What's worrying, preventable deaths related to diabetes, alcohol disorders, pulmonary disease, and colorectal cancers have actually increased. It's the first time this data has been gathered like this. The hope? It will help communities find out the why.
What we found is when people pursue those questions locally, there are elements, perhaps they have a very vulnerable population financially, and perhaps there are many obstacles like transportation, for example, that make it that they don't do their follow-up tests.
Colorectal screening rates in New Brunswick are lower than other provinces, and we don't have specific data as to why.
A lung cancer screening program is supposed to be operational this summer. The Cancer Society is also hoping the province considers raising the legal age to buy tobacco from 19 to 21.
We know that about 4 in 10 cancers can be prevented through healthy living and policies.
Various parts of the province saw high rates of suicide, addiction, and transportation-related accidents too. Drug overdoses higher in the St. John and Moncton regions, a cause Robichaud says he was keeping an eye on.
It was certainly one that we were very interested in looking at, and stakeholders have commented that they're certainly seeing how those issues are becoming more and more serious.
The council is planning to gather this data every 5 years to see if improvements have been made. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
After 6:30 this evening, we will talk more about this with the report's author, and there are more details at our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Staying with healthcare for a moment, health officials on PEI are urging islanders to only use emergency departments for urgent issues. In a release today, Health PEI says the province's hospitals are currently operating above normal capacity. The department says it's added 43 acute care beds. It also says there are a high number of patients who no longer need those acute care beds, but are still in hospital because they don't have adequate care at home or in long-term care to fall back on. Health PEI is warning of longer wait times. They're asking for everyone's patience. There's a live look at Main Street, Moncton right now, 8 minutes after 6 o'clock, -1, as we bring in CTV meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell on what was a pretty mild day for this time in January.
Yeah, it certainly was. Now, it didn't feel that way first thing in the morning. We're looking at some low temperatures around the Maritime. So you can see that for the start of the day, most communities began with temperatures a few to several degrees below the freezing mark, even colder than that, around northern areas of New Brunswick with some morning temperatures between around -10 and -14. But in a southwest wind, as we went into and through the afternoon, most high temperatures today into the Maritimes climbed at least a degree, or in some cases a couple degrees above zero. Most areas, not quite all, up in the north of New Brunswick near Charlotte remained right around the freezing mark, and same thing goes around the Edmundston area. Now, it was that southwest wind that helped bump those temperatures up this afternoon and remain in that southwest wind for tonight. And in fact, it increases in the forecast for Wednesday. What's going to happen tonight is most parts of the Maritimes will reach their coldest temperatures for the night a little bit later this evening, maybe around the 10 p.m., 11 p.m. hour. And then after that, the southerly winds will actually begin to rise temperatures as we head into the start of the day for tomorrow. The winds aren't particularly strong at the moment, no gusts being shown. Let's talk about the trend for temperatures, though, over the next several days. They're going to be at their mildest on Thursday of this week. That day, looking soggy and foggy for a good portion of the Maritime, some snow in the northwest New Brunswick. There's a little round of some colder air that comes in behind that for Friday, and then we're back to some fairly mild temperatures for the weekend ahead. If we're looking for a more extended period of typically cold winter conditions, we're looking later into next week. We're looking up towards the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. So now we're coming into the last part of January, and that looks like when there's going to be a fresh round of some cold air breaking down out of the north, and we can expect things to start feeling a little bit more on the seasonably cold side. Until then, Todd, still a couple mild days ahead of us in the region.
We'll take them when we get them. Thank you, Caleb. We'll see you later in the show. St. John has a big role to play in diversifying the country's trade. That was the message delivered by the federal transport minister in town today to mark a milestone at the port. CTV's Avery McRae reports.
Port St. John's $247 million West Side modernization project is now complete, and its timing couldn't be better.
This province is going to be once again called to be part of a national effort.
It's an effort that is happening nationwide to facilitate a smoother flow of goods across the country and bolster Canada's trade with markets outside the U.S. According to the federal government, St. John sits on some of the most strategic real estate on Earth.
That is the real estate that allows us to expand, to double our trade and our ability to trade with the rest of the world.
Not only does Ottawa believe St. John is a key corridor, but so do the port's partners.
We've signed up for a multi-decade lease with decades of extensions. We're not doing this for short term. We believe in this. We see it.
And while the port is primed to play its part, there is more to be done.
St. John Trade Corridor is growing, and we need to address some bottlenecks.
One of them is the infamous Sims Corner intersection on the city's west side. With more traffic from both trucks and trains expected in the area thanks to a growing port, it's of high priority for the province.
Imagine 1 million TEUs going through Sims Corner and what that's going to do to the traffic, to the quality of life of neighbors. We need to do something with that intersection now.
I know we'll be very interested in continuing to participate in the Sims Corner file. Sims Corner is but one of a series of pieces of infrastructure that will continue to make this port, help this port to grow.
The Premier says a decision on the intersection's future could come in the next few months. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. John.
Sydney could become home to a new Coast Guard repair facility. The city's being looked at as the site for a maintenance facility for the Coast Guard's new fleet of icebreakers. The Deepwater port has been cited as the best spot close to Canada's Arctic to maintain future polar ships. Cape Breton is also home to the Canadian Coast Guard Academy. Icebreakers are expected to be added to the fleet in the 2030s.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Halifax is looking for a new approach to an old problem. Littering is getting worse. A solution is needed as debris piles up. Here's CTV's Callum Smith from City Hall.
Councillor Nancy Hartling says heading out towards Peggy's Cove, Route 333, is a specific spot of concern when it comes to littering and debris.
This is the single most traveled road for tourists in Nova Scotia. And we introduced them with piles and piles of litter and debris on the side of the road.
But it's not just the eyesore. It's a safety concern, particularly when it comes to moving vehicles and debris around construction and demolition facilities.
What can we do when it comes to tarp loads? What can we do with enforcement? What can we do to make the 333 safer and cleaner for the municipality?
It does create problems for people, and as we heard Councillor Hartling say, it's not just an environmental issue, and I would add a livability issue.
Part of the conversation, illegal dumping. That's on top of the safety side, and the need for enforcement where possible.
The short answer is specifically for littering. there's not fines being issued.
But staff say there are tickets issued for contractors with unsecured tarp loads. At the end of the day, council voted to review its bylaws and propose changes to help both the proactive and reactive side. They'll also pen a letter to the province requesting collaboration to increase litter enforcement around highways and roadways, hoping to kick litter to the curb. Now, Councillor Hartling added an amendment to the motion looking for further discussion around adding an enforcement officer, which would also come with a cost of $90,000 plus a vehicle. That part of the motion passed 11-5 despite some concerns from councillors and the mayor about ballooning staffing costs. This at a time when a double-digit tax hike is being proposed and the need to simplify and reallocate resources instead. But of course, more budget discussions are coming up before anything is finalized. Todd.
All right, Callum at Halifax City Hall, downtown. Thank you. Some good news for travelers in northern New Brunswick. The Bathurst Airport will soon see a new airline with daily flights to neighboring Quebec. Prop Air will begin flights to Montreal and Quebec City starting at the end of the month. There are then direct connections from those airports to Ottawa, Sudbury, and Rouyn-Noranda, where the airline is based. The Montreal flight is nonstop 4 days a week. The other 3 days will include a Quebec City stopover. Flights will increase to 14 a week by mid-March. All right, time for our first break of the evening. Still to come, cloudy with fog patches tonight. Caleb Mitchell will return with his full forecast. But next, a crossing to bear.
If it's going to go weeks or even months, then that really starts to impact people's day-to-day.
Fewer ferries are crossing Halifax Harbour, stalling the commute. We'll tell you why after this. Commuters who rely on Halifax's harbour ferries are dealing with delays after the Transit Authority was forced to change the schedule. The problem? Broken down vessels. CTV's Jesse Thomas reports.
Commuters crossing the Halifax Harbour by ferry at Dartmouth's Alderney Landing will have to wait a little longer for the ride. Has the disruptions impacted you as a rider of the ferry?
Well, it just made me a bit late for my appointment today, that's all.
Halifax has reduced the Alderney ferry service to every 30 minutes on weekdays between 7:15 in the morning and 8:15 at night instead of the usual 15-minute departures. After the vessel, Vincent Coleman was pulled from service requiring repairs. But it's not clear what the mechanical issue is and how long the repair will take.
It's disruptive when you lose a few days, but if it's going to go weeks or even months, then that really starts to impact people's day-to-day.
Like his Dartmouth colleague, Councillor Tony Mancini is a frequent rider, and he worries about reliability standards.
We've had a lot of ferry schedules change because of labor shortage, and so that's an internal thing that we should be working on and are. Then we have a mechanical one on top of this, where the backup ferry is in dry dock. We've got the situation, which is very frustrating because we need all of our transit service.
In a statement, the transit union says some of the mechanical issues could have been avoided had spare parts been stocked in advance. These parts come from Germany, so the lead time to acquire them is weeks, if not months out. Our members are ready to operate the proper number of ferries required for full service. Halifax Transit staff were unavailable for an interview today, but in a press release said repairs are dependent upon the shipment of required parts. Riders shared their concerns.
For sure, like my school schedule varies a lot, and without any consistency, I really don't know what time to leave or stay or, yeah.
For now, riders are being urged to plan ahead. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Dartmouth.
Still to come, another mild January day ahead for the Maritimes. Meteorologist Caleb Mitchell has the weather details. We're back in 2 minutes. That is the Amera Oval on the Halifax Commons. Currently, nobody on it by the looks of it.
I'm not familiar with their hours of operation, so I'm not sure if it's open at this hour or not.
Yeah, I don't see the Zamboni, so
yeah.
I don't know.
I was thinking 2 degrees would be pretty pleasant, though.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good skating weather.
Going to be out on the ice.
Anyway, it's open all day, every day, so
yep.
I'm sure that there's it's being used
And those temperatures on the plus side of the scale won't be the last that we see here in the Halifax area, many parts of the Maritimes over the next couple of days. We're also not the only part of the country in some milder weather, though. Taking a look at conditions out west.
Yes, look at that. They must be loving that in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, what strikes you there, Todd? You can see temperatures mild.
Well, look at that. Hey, it's that division between Calgary and Edmonton.
That's right. Calgary sitting at 12 degrees, a little bit of a Chinook wind coming in, southern Alberta. Edmonton, though, 3, still not too bad for the city this time of the year. Very mild around the south coast of BC. Vancouver sitting at 14 degrees. Victoria sitting at 11. And then Todd noted as well, there's some milder temperatures in southern Saskatchewan, but it does get colder into Manitoba, with Winnipeg at -10 and Thompson right now sitting at -19. There's also some fairly mild temperatures around southern Ontario and southern Quebec. Montreal right now sitting at 2 degrees. Fredericton right now at around -2, +1 at Halifax, -1 at Charlottetown, and -2 at St. John's. Taking a look at our timeline for the rest of tonight. Generally cloudy or with increasing cloudiness. There'll be some light snow that comes into northern areas of New Brunswick, though not much more than a few centimeters expected out of that. The start of the day for tomorrow. Pretty cloudy across the region with a chance some patchy fog or drizzle. Remains mostly cloudy into the afternoon. Occasional peaks of sunshine here and there around the region possible, and we're going to be in a bit of a blustery southwest wind. Wind speeds for tomorrow do pick up a little bit, so we can expect to get into some gusts ranging between 20 and 50 kilometers per hour, but the southwest direction will keep temperatures becoming a little bit more milder in the region. Now, most of the low temperatures in the Maritimes for tonight are going to occur a little bit later on this evening, falling into a range around -6 to 0. There will be a few parts of coastal Nova Scotia that actually hold on to some temperatures just above the freezing mark. And then temperatures rise into the start of the day for tomorrow, and high temperatures tomorrow up between 3 and 5 degrees in the north of New Brunswick. There might be some lingering light flurries, especially through the morning hours. Central and southern areas of New Brunswick tomorrow with high temperatures between 5 and 8 degrees. Prince Edward Island is going to be milder than it was today, with most of the high temperatures coming up between 5 and 7. Pretty cloudy, and again, a chance of patchy drizzle, especially in the morning. Cape Breton with high temperatures, 7, 8 degrees for most communities for tomorrow, between 7 and 9 for the eastern shore and northern shore of Nova Scotia. In Cumberland and Colchester and Hants counties for tomorrow, the high temperatures mostly between 6 and 9 degrees. In Halifax County, most of the high temperatures between 7 and 9. The Annapolis Valley tomorrow with high temperatures near 9 degrees, 8 at Digby. And in the South Shore and on the southwest of Nova Scotia, the high temperatures between 7 and 10. Now, the mildest day this week, that's going to be Thursday. And we have a weather system arriving on Thursday. It looks like it's going to be rain, drizzle, and fog for most of the region. The snow likely to be restricted right up around the northwestern corner of New Brunswick. Possible that Edmundston up towards Campbellton, there could be 5 to 10 centimeters. And if you're traveling into Quebec on Thursday, it does look like there will be snowier conditions up and along the St. Lawrence River Valley. Taking a look at the rainfall expectations for that weather system coming through on Thursday, in a lot of cases between around 5 and 15 millimeters. Well, there could be some locally higher amounts around the eastern shore of Nova Scotia and extending into Cape Breton, maybe local amounts 20 to 30 millimeter range. Taking a look at our 7-day outlook for New Brunswick, there's the mixture of rain and snow on Thursday. It is followed by a sharp fall in temperatures Thursday night into Friday. Flurries in the forecast for Friday. There's a mix of sun and cloud for Saturday. Cloudy conditions for Sunday of next week. And then once again, temperatures start to trend to be a little bit colder Monday into Tuesday. Tuesday with a chance of flurries. For Nova Scotia in the outlook, very mild temperatures heading into Thursday, though Thursday looking like a rainy and foggy day. Flurries in the forecast for Friday as temperatures come down briefly because the weekend temperatures, at least the daytime highs, still looking fairly mild. High temperatures low to mid single digits both Saturday and Sunday. May see some snow Sunday night. It's followed by a mix of sun and cloud on Monday and Tuesday with a chance of flurries. And for Prince Edward Island in the forecast, rainy and foggy conditions coming up on Thursday as the high temperature reaches 8 degrees, but then the temperature falls down to around 0 Thursday night into Friday, and then the overnight low temperature Friday night into Saturday down to around -7. Daytime highs, though, on the weekend, a couple degrees above the freezing mark, and then starts to get a little bit colder Monday and Tuesday of next week. Todd.
All right. Thank you, Kalen. We will see you at the end of the show. Next, we'll talk about avoidable deaths. And Katie is live at Neptune Theatre in Halifax. Katie.
Thanks, Todd. Yes, I'm live downtown Halifax, where the 2026-27 season of Neptune Theatre is being revealed as we speak. Coming up, I'm going to give you the exclusive details on the scene.
Okay, so we're back at it tomorrow. Chance to win $100,000 from Virgin Radio's $100,000 Destroy Your Dad.
Those keywords starting at 7 a.m.
And get a shot at $100 in gas. Good luck.
Welcome back. We want to look further into the report on avoidable deaths in New Brunswick that we talked about a little earlier. Stéphane Robichaud is Chief Executive Officer of the New Brunswick Health Council, and he joins us from Moncton. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
A very simple question off the top. What is the definition of an avoidable death for your study?
There's two parts. Absolutely. There's two parts to this report. The first part is about what's called premature deaths. Premature deaths is something that's being measured since the 90s. They've established sort of 75 years of age as a baseline, and they look at all deaths that occur before the age of 75. Now, two big categories. Some of these deaths are deemed to be unavoidable, but of those that are deemed to be avoidable, and there's over 80 causes associated to those deaths, there are two categories to those. Those that it's deemed that if we had done a better job from a prevention perspective, we could have avoided the death or extended life. And those where mostly it's about treatment. So timely access to quality treatment could have avoided death or extended life.
We'll drill down on those in a second if we can, but New Brunswick has more avoidable deaths than the rest of Canada. Why are we in this position?
So what we've seen is New Brunswick and Canada have had some improvement over time. But in the area of deaths for treatable causes, we've not improved as much as Canada. Both New Brunswick and Canada were at about a rate of 72 per 100,000 for treatable deaths about 10 years ago or so. And today, Canada's at 60%, whereas we're at about 67%. Roughly speaking, about 2/3 of avoidable deaths are associated to preventable causes and about 1/3 to treatable causes.
Okay, let's talk about preventable.
So on preventable causes, if you look at, there's two parts to the report. So we do look at rates in New Brunswick compared to Canada, and we look at rates across New Brunswick. New Brunswick has 7 health zones. Zone 1 being Moncton, Zone 2 St. John. If you go clockwise, there are 7 zones comprising of the major cities. Now, Zone 6, Acadian Peninsula, Bathurst, is actually doing better than the national average, which is quite interesting. We don't have the answers, but they're doing better on both treatable and preventable. And the area of Campbellton, Zone 5, is a much higher rate than the national average on both preventable and treatable. If you look at the causes themselves, there's about 2,000 premature deaths per year in New Brunswick, and about half of those, 50%, are associated to 6 main causes. So lung cancer, heart disease, colorectal cancer, diabetes, stroke, and chronic and pulmonary diseases. So those 6 ones account for about half of the 2,000 deaths per year that are preventable.
We know there's been so much education in the last number of decades, things like lung cancer, diabetes, and the like. Is it that the message isn't getting through? Did we step back from that? Why hasn't there been a marked change in the deaths?
Yes, there can be a wide range of reason. I know I can only speak for myself as to I'm one of those with New Year resolutions, and we don't always follow through. What's important here is of those 6 causes, 5 of those 6, it's about what we associate to lifestyle. So tobacco, heavy drinking, physical activity, diet. So these are important elements. A little good news in the overall picture is that we're doing better on lung cancer because of past efforts around tobacco. But this type of numbers, and considering that the situation can be quite different from one zone to the next, what it does is It's not as much about providing answers than helping in identifying the right questions. So, and just in the preliminary round that we've done before Christmas in validating these numbers with various professionals around the province, it's interesting to see the type of discussions that it does raise. And people do make links between some of those numbers and what they see from a day-to-day practice, for example. So these types of numbers can help us, obviously, to do better when it comes to promoting a positive lifestyle. I'd also add that what we've seen at the council is when we do equip people locally with proper numbers to understand their health trends, New Brunswick communities have proven to be quite resilient in coming up with initiatives that promote, for example, physical activity. Or it can be also elements, and this is not a small element, it can also be things in helping to address barriers for people in getting the right type of support that they need, transportation, for example. So we've seen very positive initiatives across province in the past, and for us it's about adding to that health trend picture, because we know that if we can bring this data more locally, communities tend to respond quite favorably. One last thing I may add on that, because to your question about do we need to do more about promotion, colorectal cancer. I'm part of that age group that does get that test, and many do get that test. What we're finding is when we look at the numbers across the country, Saskatchewan has the highest rate of people having done the test in the last year at 68%. Canada's at about 49%, and New Brunswick is about 35%. That is, following through on that test that they receive. So that's an example of an area that we have to do better as a population, and we probably need to do better at how we promote that, because colorectal cancer is one of those conditions that the earlier we get it, the more success we can have.
It's a fairly simple test to do, and we all get it. Stéphane Robichaud, thank you very much. It's a very valuable report, and we've got a link to it on our website. So if viewers want to check that out, we would encourage they do that. Thank you for your time. It's good to see you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We will take a break. We'll be back with more of your news. Our health report now, and a brand of frozen beef burgers is being recalled due to possible E. coli contamination. CTV's Amanda Debison has more in tonight's edition of The Lifeline.
You might want to check your freezer. There's a Canada-wide recall for a brand of beef burgers.
The Canadian Food Inspection Agency has issued a nationwide recall for no-name brand beef burgers due to a potential E. coli contamination. The recall includes a 1.36 kilogram pack of the burgers with a best before date of May 2026. The recall was triggered by CFIA test results. It's advised not to consume, use, sell, or serve the recall product. If you have it, it's advised that you throw it out or return it. There have been no reported illnesses associated with the recall. Food contaminated with E. coli may not look or smell spoiled, but can cause extreme sickness if consumed. A new survey from the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health has found the level of reported harmful drinking patterns persist in Ontario following the pandemic.
We thought that with time, we would see declines in some of these, in that distress, for example, and harmful drinking. We're still experiencing some of those challenges that first became evident early in the pandemic.
CAMH surveyed more than 3,000 adults. 12% reported symptoms of alcohol dependence. That's down slightly from 2020, but well above the 7% reported pre-pandemic. The number of adults reporting frequent mental distress has also climbed from more than 16% in 2020 to nearly 19% last year. Researchers couldn't determine the reasons, but say the data highlights the need for more investments in mental health and addiction supports. Finally, about 14% of people may be addicted to ultra-processed foods. A new cell metabolism study that included people from 36 countries found these foods trigger brain patterns like those seen in drug addiction. They flooded the brain's reward system with refined fats and carbs that mimic the brain response to addictive substances. Ultra-processed foods are foods and drinks packed with additives like saturated fats, salt, sugar, and preservatives. Experts say instead of reaching for something that comes in a package, prioritize whole foods found in nature, like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
Halifax's Neptune Theatre is about to pull back the curtain on its upcoming season, and we're getting an exclusive first look. Katie Kelly is on the scene. There she is at the theatre, about to reveal the big lineup. Katie, take it away.
Thank you, Todd. Well, of course, I couldn't do that without Neptune's own artistic director, Jeremy. How are you, Jeremy Webb?
Hi, Katie. I'm so excited right now. We've got so many people here for the party.
I know. The room is full. It's so fun, so cool. I love the vibes in here.
Yeah.
And you've already gave us a sneak peek some of the shows. So let's talk about that first. The lineup is going to be stacked.
It's an amazing lineup. In fact, shall I just reveal this right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Tell me what we've got here.
Oh my God. So if we start all the way over here, the summer show at Neptune this year is the amazing musical Rent. Jonathan Larson's amazing musical based on La Boheme. We have Women of the Fur Trade, an amazing play by Francis Concan. That's actually coming from Thousand Islands Playhouse, directed by Keith Barker. Then all the way up there, we have amazing artist and local playwright Deep Water by Dan Bray and Villains Theatre. He's in the house right now. He only just found out he's plays in the season. I didn't tell him. Then for the holiday show, for the first time ever, we've managed to secure the rights for How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, which I think is going to drive people crazy.
And it's the first time ever. Like
First time ever.
Yeah, everyone's going to freak over
I've been trying to get that show for about 8 years. We have Christmas Carol coming back, as we do every year.
Yes.
Don't want to diminish it, but that's an every year thing. It's a staple. It's a tradition. And then we have a brand new adaptation by Anne-Marie Casey, who is out in the UK, of Little Women, Louisa May Alcott's book, and it's a brand new adaptation, North American premiere. We're creating it here, and we're hoping that it goes everywhere else afterwards. So keeping our fingers crossed for that. We have a one-man production of Vanya, starring Daniel McIver, directed by Wesley Colford at the Highland Arts Theatre in Sydney. So we're very excited to work with our friends up in Cape Breton. We have Sis Grados Meo, 6 Degrees in May. I translated it. I hope I didn't butcher the accent. I'm getting a thumbs up, which is a play by Santiago Guzman, who lives here. And then, of course, after all that, there's one show still to announce.
And no one in the room knows this, right?
No one, well, I'm sure a few people have
besides your
guessed.
staff.
Few people have guessed.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, is it a good time to do that now?
I think it's a perfect time.
Okay, do you want to do it?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I would love to.
you want to pull I'll hold the microphone. You pull the paper off and reveal.
You ready?
Go on then. Do it. Do it. So. Wow. So, I'll give you the microphone back.
Thank you.
So, I have been checking in on the availability of the show since before I got this job. It is the 40th anniversary of the show in London. I just went to see it knowing that I had the rights. I had to keep my mouth shut. And I cannot wait. That is next spring. And that's it. I mean, what else can I say?
You
I can't
don't
think
need
of a
to
better
say anything
way.
else.
It's so amazing to have that show.
That's huge. Les Mis is coming to Neptune Theatre, and
is.
all of these other shows, you can check them out. If you want to know the lineup again, it's on our website, or it will be in the next 5 minutes. Okay, and we have one more treat to end this off with.
We do. We have an amazing treat. Renee Smith, accompanied by Sarah Richardson, is over there on the stairs, ready to take us away with a song from Les Mis.
Rainy, everyone. one of the songs you will hear at Neptune Theatre's production of Les Mis. Todd.
Katie, and thank you, Katie, and thank you to Jeremy Webb. Looks like a great lineup. We will take a break. We'll wrap things up after this.
CTV Atlantic, winner of 2 national RTDNA awards, Best Newscast and Breaking News, plus home to 8 regional awards. CTV Atlantic and ctvatlantic.ca. Watch live on Crave.
On the markets, the Dow Jones ended the day down 400 points. The U.S. president commented on the North American Free Trade Agreement that's up for negotiations this year. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more on what he had to say.
The U.S. president says the trade deal negotiated during his last term in office is now irrelevant. Trump was touring a Michigan Ford plant today when he spoke about CUSMA, saying we could have it or not, it wouldn't matter. The deal is supposed to be reviewed this year, but Washington called off early negotiations late last year after an Ontario-sponsored ad campaign about tariffs upset the U.S. president. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar hardly moved. It's at 72.04. West Texas Intermediate up $1.62 to 61.12. Western Canadian Select up 87 cents to 44.97. And the TSX lost 4 points today after a record close yesterday. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
All right, Kalen on the weather deck. What do you got?
Well, we've got a great viewer picture for tonight. It goes back to this past weekend again on Saturday when we had that weather system that brought in that significant wintry mix of weather into the Maritime region, including for some areas, several hours of freezing rain. Now, freezing rain is my least favorite type of weather to have to deal with, but in behind it, you can often get some beautiful scenes, and that's what we've got here. This is up at Lorneville in Cumberland County, Nova Scotia. It was sent in from Catherine Hunter, and you can see the sun breaking through the clouds there and sort of glinting off of all of the ice that was left in behind that freezing rain on the fields and the trees there. So I want to thank Catherine very much for sharing that with us. Lorneville for tomorrow, and cloudy with sunny breaks and certainly mild in the afternoon with the high temperature getting up to around 6 degrees. Let's take a look at our day planner across the region, and in the morning hours around the Maritimes, cloudy start to the day. There may be some flurries in northern areas of New Brunswick and a chance of patchy drizzle and fog for other parts of the region. Remember, the temperatures will be at their coldest tonight a little bit later on this evening, then rising during the overnight hours. So at the start of the day for tomorrow, a good portion of the Maritimes will already be on the plus side of the scale. In the afternoon, it's going to be cloudy with sunny breaks. The remaining chance of some patchy drizzle, mostly around the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. And a lot of high temperatures tomorrow, coming up towards the mid to high single digits in a blustery southwest wind that will have a few gusts between 20 and 50 kilometers per hour. Todd.
All right, Kalen, thank you. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Coming up at 6 o'clock, competition in the skies. We'll sit down with the CEO of Flair Airlines to talk about the airline business and the opportunities that he sees in the Maritimes. He is bullish on this region. That's tomorrow at 6. And finally for us tonight, remember the 80s movie RoboCop? We watched that and we thought, that could never happen. Well, guess what? 4 robotic traffic officers have started operating in the streets of Jiangsu City in southeast China. They're equipped with the latest AI chips, multiple cameras and laser radars. The robo-officers can be on duty 24 hours a day. They gather traffic information and direct traffic according to vehicle flow and intersection conditions. They can also identify illegal behavior. The Chinese say the robot can assist human police in handling repetitive tasks during peak hours. Coming to a street corner near you. That is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco has your late update at 11:30. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca has updates anytime. I'm Todd Battis. Hope to see you back here tomorrow for the midweek edition of your newscast. Till then, have a good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.